2 Kings 10. Ahab's family killed. Now there was in Samaria 70 sons of the house of Ahab. So Jehu wrote letters and sent them to Samaria, to the officials of Jezreel, to the elders and to the guardians of Ahab's children. He said, "You have your master's son with you, and you have chariots and horses, and a fortified city and weapons. Now, as soon as this letter reaches you, choose the best and most worthy of your master's son, and set him on his father's throne. Then fight for your master's house." But they were terrified and said, "If 2 kings could not resist him, how can we?" So the palace administrator, the city governor, the elders, and the guardians sent this message to Jehu: "We are your servants, and we will do anything you say. We will not appoint anyone as king. You do whatever you think is best." Then Jehu wrote them a second letter, saying, "If you are on my side and will obey me, take the heads of your master's son and come to me in Jezreel by this time tomorrow." Now the royal princess, 70 of them were with the leading men of the city, who were rearing them. When the letter arrived, these men took the princess and slaughtered all 70 of them. They put their heads in baskets and sent them to Jehu in Jezreel. When the messenger arrived, he told Jehu, "They have brought the heads of the princess. Then Jehu ordered, "Put them in 2 piles at the entrance of the city gate until morning." The next morning Jehu went out. He stood before all the people and said, "You are innocent. It was I who conspired against my master and killed him. But who killed all these? Know then that not a word of the Lord has spoken against the house of Ahab will fail. The Lord has done what he announced through his servant Elijah." So Jehu killed everyone in Jezreel who remained of the house of Ahab, as well as his chief men, his closet friends, and his priests, leaving him no survivor. Jehu then set out and went towards Samaria. At Beth-Eked of the shepherds, he met some relatives of Ahaziah, king of Judah, and asked, "Who are you?" They said, "We are relatives of Ahaziah, and we have come down to greet the families of the king and the queen mother." "Take them alive," he ordered. So they took them alive and slaughtered them by the well of Beth-Eked, 42 of them, and he left no survivor. After he left there, he came upon Jehonadab, son of Rechab, who was on his way to meet him. Jehu greeted him and said, "Are you in accord with me, as I am with you?" "I am," Jehonadab answered. "If so," said Jehu, "give me your hand." So he did, and Jehu helped him into the chariot, and Jehu said, "Come with me and see my zeal for the Lord." Then he had him ride along this chariot. When Jehu came to Samaria, he killed all those who were left in charge of Ahab's family. He destroyed them, and according to the word of the Lord spoken to Elijah. Servants of Baal killed. Then Jehu brought all the people together and said to them, "Ahab served Baal a little. Jehu will serve him much. Now summon all the prophets of Baal and all the servants and his priests. See that no one is missing, because I am going to hold a great sacrifice for Baal. Anyone who fails to come will live no longer." But Jehu was acting deceitfully in order to destroy the servants of Baal. Jehu said, "Call an assembly in honor of Baal." So they proclaimed it. Then he sent word throughout Israel, and all the servants of Baal came, and no one stayed away. They crowded into the temple of Baal until it was full from one end to another. And Jehu said to the keeper of the wardrobe, "Bring robes of all the servants of Baal." So he brought out robes for them. Then Jehu and Jehonadab, son of Rechab, went into the temple of Baal. Jehu said to his servants of Baal, "Look around and see that no one who serves the Lord is here. With you, only servants of Baal." So they went into the sacrifices and burnt offerings. Now Jehu had posted 80 men outside with his warning: "If one of you lets any of the men I am placing in your hands escape, it will be your life for his life." As soon as Jehu had finished making the burnt offering, he ordered the guards and officers, "Go in and kill them. Let no one escape." So they cut them down with the sword. The guards and officers threw the bodies out, and they entered the inner shrine of the temple of Baal. They brought the sacred stone out of the temple of Baal and burned it. They demolished the sacred stone of Baal and tore down the temple of Baal, and the people have used it for a lateran to this day. So Jehu destroyed Baal worship in Israel. However, he did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit, the worship of the gold calves of Bethel and Dan. The Lord said to Jehu, "Because you have done well in accomplishing what is right in my eyes, and what I've done to the house of Ahab, all I have in mind to do. Your descendants will sit on the throne of Israel to the 4th generation." Yet Jehu was not careful to keep the law of the Lord, the God of Israel. So with all his heart he did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, which he had caused Israel to commit. In those days the Lord began to reduce the size of Israel. Hazael overpowered the Israelites throughout their territory, east of the Jordan, in all the land of Gilead, from Aroer by Arnon George through Gilead to Bashan. As for the other events of Jehu's reign, all he did and all his achievements, are they not written in the book of annals of the king of Israel? Jehu rested with his ancestors and was buried in Samaria, and Jehoaz, his son, succeeded him as king. The time that Jehu reigned over Israel and Samaria was 28. 2 Kings 11. Athaliah and Joash. When Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she proceeded to destroy the whole royal family. But Jeshosheba, the daughter of King Jeroboam, and sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, son of Ahaziah, and stole him away from among the royal princes, who were about to be murdered. She put him and his nurse in a bedroom to hide from Athaliah, so he was not killed. He remained hidden with his nurse at the temple of the Lord for 6 years while Athaliah ruled the land. In the 7th year, Jehoiada sent for the commanders of units of 100. The chariots and the guards that had them brought to him at the temple of the Lord. He made a covenant with them and put them under an oath at the temple of the Lord. Then he showed them the king's son. He commanded them, saying, "This is what you are to do. You who are in the 3 companies that are going on duty of the Sabbath, a third year of you guarding the royal palace, a third at the sur gate, and a third at the gate behind the guard, who takes turns guarding the temple. And you who are in the other 2 companies that normally go off to Sabbath duties are all to guard the temple of the king. Station yourselves around the king, each of you with weapon in hand. Anyone who approaches your ranks is to be put to death. Stay close to the king wherever he goes." The commanders of the units of 100 did just as Jehoiada the priest ordered. Each one took his man, those who were going on the duty of the Sabbath and those who were going off duty, and came to Jehoiada the priest. Then he gave the commands of the spears, the shields that had belonged to King David and that were in the temple of the Lord. The guards each stationed themselves around the king near the altar and the temple from the south side to the north side of the temple. Jehoiada brought out the king's sons and put the crown on him. He presented him with a copy of the covenant and proclaimed him king. They anointed him, and the people clapped their hands and shouted, "Long live the king." When Athaliah heard the noise that by the guards and the people, she went to the people at the temple of the Lord. She looked, and there was a king standing by the pillar. As the custom was, the officers and the trumpeters were beside the king, and all the people of the land were rejoicing and blowing trumpets. Then Athaliah tore her robes and called out, "Treason! Treason!" Jehoiada the priest ordered the commanders of the units of 100 who were in charge of the troops, "Bring her out between the ranks and put to the sword anyone who follows her." For the priest had said, "She must not be put to death in the temple of the Lord." So they seized her as she reached the place where the horses entered the palace grounds, and there she was put to death. Jehoiada then made a covenant between the Lord and the king and people that were be the Lord's people. He also made a covenant between the king and the people. All the people of the land went to the temple of Baal and tore it down. They smashed the altars and idols to pieces and killed Mattan the priest of Baal in front of the altars. Then Jehoiada the priest posted guards at the temple of the Lord. He took with him the commanders of hundreds of chariots, the guards, and all the people of the land, and all together they brought to the king down the temple of the Lord and went to the palace, entering by the way of the gate of the guards. The king then took his place on the royal throne, and all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was calm, because Athaliah had been slain with a sword at the palace. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign. What? Dang, shout! Bro, this was a nice chapter to read. 2 chapters. Hey guys, catch you tomorrow. It's true that you will never ever have that chance again.